Welcome back to the morning after as the Winnipeg Jets officially clinch a playoff spot, though I don't think that was ever in doubt down the stretch here. With a 5-2 win over the Calgary Flames, and in typical Winnipeg Jets fashion, this game was a complete roller coaster, and mostly, once again, because of how stubborn Rick Bowness is, that he has to do this his way. It's got to get back to his way at some point. 3.5 periods into a switch, and he's already like, oh, I got to get back there. Let's talk about it. The Winnipeg Jets go down early in this one. The team looks sloppy across the board. I can't say a good thing about anyone in that first 4 or 5 minutes. And Mackenzie Weegar takes advantage of an early Nick Ehlers penalty in the D zone. A trip when he got caught out of position. Not a great penalty to take. But after that penalty, the Jets seem to really get rolling. Draw a power play of their own, and Gabe Vilardi net front. That's what he does. He just dominates the net front. We're going to talk a little bit about Gabe Vilardi as this goes on. And immediately after this power play, we see Nick Ehlers get a shift with Cole Perfetti and Sean Monahan. Cole Perfetti continues to do what he's done the last two, and he creates another goal off the stick of Nick Ehlers. And what does Rick Bowness do? He sees this as an opportunity to go back to Connor, Scheifele, Vilardi, who he so desperately wants to be this team's first line, despite them so desperately wanting to tank this ship. And what happens? The Winnipeg Jets go from dominating the back half of the first period, making that shift, and absolutely flatlining as a team. All of a sudden, every shift they're spending in their D zone. All of a sudden, every shift, Calgary's applying pressure. And guess who? This is going to be surprising. Surprising to everybody in the Jets fan base, I imagine. Guess who gets scored on and hemmed in? Mark Scheifele, Kyle Connor, Gabe Vilardi, with Neil Pionk and Colin Miller, which is coaching malpractice at this point to have Pionk, Connor, and Scheifele on the ice together. And what happens? As soon as that goal happens, they go back to how they enter the game, and the Winnipeg Jets take off again. You cannot take a more obvious example in a one-game sample of how drastically this team looks depending on that top six configuration. Enough with the games, Rick. Stay the hell out of the way. You were wrong. It is time. It is playoff time. You're going to be playing Colorado. Nate McKinnon is licking his chops at the idea of playing matchup minutes against Kyle Connor and Mark Scheifele. Stop. Get the fuck out of the way and stop. And the funniest thing about all of this for me is he goes into the media and shout out Connor Hrabchuk, asks him about it. And he says, oh, we saw Perfetti and Ehlers score there, so we had to see if it would work. Because 81-55-13, you just got to get back there. Because it works, apparently. It works. His eyes say it works. Despite losing 7-0 going into this game in their last 6 games, and then 8-0 after playing another 10 minutes together. The fact that he tips toes around this, and people like Kevin Sawyer on the broadcast are like, oh, I don't know why they were a drastically different team. You're with this team 82 games a year. If you don't understand this by now, you can't educate your audience. You got to pay more attention. And just the fact he'll tiptoe around Connor and Scheifele not being good together, man. It's enough is enough. On the good though, power play, 2 power play goals for this team of late. Seems like a big achievement, and they were generating. They looked pretty dangerous on the power play. A little frustrating they didn't score in a 5-minute major from a dirty hit from Martin Prospasol, who they just have to get out of the league for the rest of the year at this point. This is his 4th game misconduct since training camp. He said he was a changed man like 3 weeks ago. This guy's a goon. Get him out of here. That hit on Morrissey was garbage. They also didn't score on a 5-on-3, but scored shortly after it ended. And one of the big stories for the Winnipeg Jets going into the playoffs is the fact that both their specialty teams units have been dog water. So to see signs of life from the power play, that's something to be excited about. To see the team absolutely roll Calgary when used properly, Rick. Listen to me, Rick. When used properly, you're on your retirement tour. Just stay the fuck out of the way. This team is very good. Very good. I really liked the deep pairings last night. Outside Pionk with Morrissey Again, I just don't see Neil Pionk being playable. I really don't. The mistakes he makes are tough. But this was a Josh Morrissey game where Josh Morrissey is just that guy. And he carries them to slight relevancy. I thought Morrissey was great last night. Sandberg and Miller come in. Miller hasn't played in a few games, like 6 or 7. I thought he was steady. I thought he had a real tough start in the first period, but once he settled down, I liked that pairing. And I really like the Dylan and DeMello pairing as a potential shutdown pairing for a playoff series. Last night's game had me envisioning this for the Winnipeg Jets down the stretch. You have your top line in Josh Morrissey. Your top line with Nick Ehlers, not Kyle Connor, by the way. With Josh Morrissey, Mark Scheifele, and Nick Ehlers create magic together when they're on the ice. We haven't seen enough of it over the last 3 years. It's probably all the coaching staffs that come through Winnipeg's biggest crime against humanity here, honestly. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see Lowry, Toffoli, Appleton with that Dylan and DeMello pairing as a bit of a shutdown line. With some offensive spark, Tyler Toffoli looked dangerous last night. And I know, before people say it, I know they want Nino Niederreiter, Adam Lowry, and Mason Appleton to try and shut down Nate McKinnon in the first round. But guess what? If Nate McKinnon scores 1 or 2 goals a game, you're swimming up the stream because you're asking that line to go 0-0 most nights. They lose a matchup and you're swimming upstream. I'd like to see them be able to contribute a bit offensively. I think this would work, which gives you Connor, Monahan, Perfetti, who continue to look good. And this is the thing too, Kyle Connor looks significantly more engaged, looks significantly like he wants to take control of the offense when he's playing away from Mark Scheifele, and that's a good thing. I think you got to keep rolling with it, and then it gives you almost what I would compare to Matt Perreault during 17-18's big run, where Matt Perreault was not a fourth-line hockey player. Matt Perreault was the guy that was going up to lines and helping them get going. I think Nino, with Nemestikov and Iafallo or Barron, gives you another third-line caliber line and gives you the depth that could absolutely beat Colorado's bottom 6. I don't know. I like it. I'm on the wagon. If Rick stays out of the way, I'm on the wagon. It's almost time for the whiteout parties, the street parties, getting together with friends and family. The vibes are here. The vibes are here. And how could we not talk about Gabe Vilardi last night? Pure Luke who had to save the best for last. Gabe Vilardi gets his first NHL hat trick. And he's just added such an element to the Winnipeg Jets that they were lacking offensively. He absolutely controls that net front. On the power play, he's such a weapon off the goal line and net front. I truly think he's one of the more important weapons for a power play in the league. Just what a player. Chevy masterclass. I love me some Gabe. I kind of see some Stone Light in him, though in different ways. Like, it's not the full game isn't the same, but there's some pieces there. I don't know. I'm a big Gabe guy. It was great to see him get the first hat trick. See the crowd pop. See the hats come down. Shout out Gabe. Now let's get ready for the whiteout. Chills every time. Let's go.